This is definitely the most vicious parents you have ever seen. Not only do they frequently abuse their own son, but they also throw him into a pigsty, making him eat and live with the pigs. However, these are not even the most detestable actions. The most outrageous thing is that they actually fed their own son to the pigs. These unbelievable events sound like a fake story, but they actually happened. It just goes to show that not all parents are fit to be parents. The location of this incident is Ohio, United States. One night at 9 p.m., the Ohio police received a distress call from a woman claiming to be a victim of domestic violence and in need of immediate help. Upon receiving the report, the police immediately rushed to her house. However, as soon as they entered the yard, they smelled a foul odor. When they saw the pigs kept next to the yard, they didn't pay much attention to the stench. But to the police's surprise, when they asked Heather about the domestic violence, she didn't say much and instead suggested they check the pigsty. Although the police were puzzled, they followed their curiosity and walked towards the foul-smelling pigsty. However, as soon as they reached the pigsty, they witnessed a horrifying scene. Inside the pigsty was the decomposed body of a child lying motionless while the pigs trampled around him. This scene left a deep imprint on everyone's minds. The police immediately took Heather and her husband to the police station after realizing what had happened. Through interrogation, the police learned the details of the incident. The boy's name was Edward, and from the photos, you could see that he had big eyes and chubby cheeks. He had a sweet smile that could light up the whole room. According to neighbors, little Edward was usually very well behaved and adorable, especially when he smiled. However, one day, Heather showed her landlord the evidence she had saved on her computer. It contained numerous photos and videos of Edward being abused. The landlord, after seeing those pictures, couldn't sleep well for several nights. As the videos played, Edward went from a happy and healthy boy to becoming increasingly emaciated and mentally drained. This continued until Edward left this beautiful world, putting an end to the torment. Initially, Edward was only asked to raise his hands and stand for a few hours, but the couple escalated the abuse. They would cover Edward's eyes with a towel. And what's even more shocking is that they would tie him to a table and whip him, electrocute him, and even throw him into the outdoor swimming pool with his limbs tied. The pain was unbearable for many adults, let alone a young child like Edward. In his final days, Edward was locked in the bathroom for several days, with the coldness becoming his last sensation. That less than 2 square meter bathroom became Edward's burial ground. Edward left that dark bathroom, perhaps finding it a form of relief. But for those demonic parents, they lost a tool for their venting. So, out of anger, they threw Edward into the pigsty. However, during the investigation, Heather shifted all the blame onto her husband, claiming that he should be responsible for Edward because he loved him and would take care of him with all his might. But her husband was a demon. He installed surveillance cameras in every room, making it impossible for him to escape. He wanted to save Edward, but he was powerless. If possible, he would rather suffer in Edward's place. However, Edward was gone, and no matter how touching Heather's words were, they were futile. During the trial, Edward's biological father, Michael Jones, appeared in court with an indifferent expression. It seemed as if Edward's death had nothing to do with him, or perhaps Edward was just an object in his heart. It's hard to imagine that this is a father. In the subsequent investigation, the police did not believe Heather's one-sided account. Through interviews and the videos and pictures saved on the computer, it was evident that Heather was also involved in the abuse of Edward. Therefore, Edward's death was not unrelated to him. In the end, Edward's biological father, Michael Jones, was convicted of first-degree murder, and Heather was also punished with a 25-year sentence.